Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Sarah Horbacewicz here with Corrales Ortiz, and tonight we're grateful that Arkansans are safe after we saw overnight storms that caused some serious damage as they moved across the state.
Yeah, so it was a little bit nerve-wracking. It's been quite some time since Arkansans have dealt with such widespread severe weather. Actually, we do have a few confirmed reports. It's going to take a while for the National Weather Service to really go through a lot of areas that they do feel could have been impacted, but Saline County, right next door, essentially did see a confirmation of an EF2 tornado. This was just southeast of the small community of Sardis there, and with peak winds at 115 miles per hour. This happened around the 11 o'clock hour last night. The length of it was 1.6 miles with the width of about 200 yards. So it's that same storm that we did see pop up just near the East End region, so just to our south. So in terms of seeing any other reports in the area, we've had at least 19 reports of tornadoes across Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. That's not also including severe thunderstorm wind damage as well. There were a few confirmed reports that they're still going to need to survey, though, to really confirm over in parts of northwest Arkansas, just out of Fort Smith, outside of Fayetteville as well. There are a couple of some thunderstorm wind damage areas that they are also going to try to survey near Polk, Montgomery, and even Clark County, just because they wanted to confirm whether or not it was really either thunderstorm or tornado damage. There was a pretty strong tornado that was tracking across near the Oklahoma border, Idabel, Oklahoma, that crossed over into parts of West Arkansas. So that's why they want to go ahead and confirm that. We were the calm after the storm for today, so it's going to be quiet for the rest of our evening and weekend. We do have rain back in the forecast into the week.
All right, thanks, Carlos. Now, while we are seeing that calm after the storm, a lot of people are now picking up the pieces, especially over in Saline County in the East End community, where a lot of people spent most of the day sorting through debris and cleaning up. That's where Frederick Price joins us from tonight. Frederick, what can you tell us?
Yes, Sarah, and the people that I talk with in this community say last night's storms was short, but it was fierce. We talked to one gentleman. He showed us around his house and we could see the force of the storm. The windows at his home were blown out. And take a look at this tree behind me. It's on his side. It was uprooted. It actually fell onto the vehicles that were parked in this homeowner's driveway. They have been able to clean up since we've been here around 11:30 or so this morning. And that's kind of been what a lot of people in this community have been doing. I'm on Fairview Road tonight, and it is among those areas that were hardest hit by the storms. At Sardis Road and Pruitt Road, also among the areas that were hit the hardest. And we've been in this community all day watching people sort through what's left and move forward.
It's the most devastating thing I've seen around here in a long time.
Above Sardis Road, a clear visual of the intensity of Friday night's storm. The roof of this home blown off and a trail of debris left behind from an EF2 tornado. On the ground, a cleanup mission for those in harm's way.
I was listening to the weather in the Frady hole. Had no idea it was near this bad until we come out.
Larry Cossey's storm shelter is a couple miles from his property. He says when he returned home, the scattered metal and tree limbs were hard to digest.
I automatically assumed it was my house laying in the middle of the road and in the front yard.
The storm approaching so quickly, he had to leave his dogs behind when he and his wife headed to shelter. Utility crews and the people who live in East End now working to pick up what was blown away in every direction.
You can see the 2017 Nissan, it held up pretty good for that big a tree.
Remnants of Cossey's neighbor's shed are spread out in this field across the street. Other homes in the area also heavily damaged by this tornado. But after such a chaotic night, he tells me this community really stepped up.
Them neighbors were out in their t-shirts and their shorts and barely had shoes on, coming to check and make sure me and my wife was okay.
As he works to clear the damage and move forward, he can't help but think how things could have been much worse.
We're blessed. I'm telling you, very blessed.
A silver lining in this, when he returned home, he was able to meet with his dogs again, and they were excited to see him, and he was excited to see them as well. Fortunately, no injuries to report, but as you can imagine, the cleanup process is going to be pretty extensive for the coming days. We're live tonight in Saline County. Frederick Price, THV 11 News.
All right, thank you so much, Frederick. Yeah, definitely emphasizing that it's great that everyone is okay. Now, I'm sure Corrales will agree if this happens again, if there's ever severe weather like we saw last night, you're going to want to make sure you have the THV 11 app on your phone.
Yeah, that's right, Sarah. It's a free app on our Apple Store or even Google Play Store. You can get the warnings about severe weather, watch our live coverage. You saw Tom and Nathan on for several hours. You can also check the radar and always get updates on your local news as well.
Bringing things back to the metro right now, police officers are investigating a suspicious death after a man's body was found in the middle of a road in North Little Rock. Just before noon today, North Little Rock police responded to a call for a person lying on the ground in the middle of Allen Street. When they arrived, they found a man dead with injuries. The body was sent to the state crime lab to determine how the man died, but anyone with information about this incident is asked to contact police. Also new tonight, Conway police have launched a shooting investigation into an incident earlier today on the 900 block of South German Lane. CPD tells us that there was at least one confirmed victim with several gunshot wounds, and they were taken to an area hospital. No other information right now is available on that victim, but we'll continue to share updates on both of these investigations as we receive new information. That'll be right here on CHV11 and online at chv11.com. We have an update in the kidnapping and killing of a Northwest Arkansas mom and her unborn child. The charges against husband and wife, Amber and Jamie Waterman, have been upgraded to murder in the death of Ashley Bush and her child. The Watermans first faced federal kidnapping charges after their arrest earlier this week. According to investigators, Amber created a false persona online in order to meet Bush, who was looking for a job. Upon meeting, Waterman kidnapped her, later killing her and her unborn child. Authorities say Amber was planning to claim Bush's child as her own. We have the full case right now on THV11.com. Millions of dollars are now on their way to local groups fighting the opioid epidemic here in the natural state. The money comes from a lawsuit settlement with pharmaceutical companies who were overprescribing the drugs. The Arkansas Opioid Partnership is an organization that determines where that money goes. Friday, they announced $10 million out of the $200 million has already come into the state. Now officials can apply for the money to help prevent more opioid deaths and overdoses.
And it's a problem that we created as a society, and we can fix it as a society. The question is, do we have the will to do it? But we have the means now, and now we have to generate the will.
The partnership does have a website set up where local government or nonprofit officials can go to find more resources. Just hours after slashing Twitter's workforce, the platform is launching a subscription service for $7.99 a month. That includes the blue check. Previously, that was only given to Twitter verified accounts for free. In an Apple iOS update released today, those who can sign up can now receive the blue check next to their names, like celebrities, politicians, and public figures. With the balance of power in Congress up for grabs in Tuesday's midterm elections, candidates and former presidents, they're all making their final appeals to voters this weekend. Christian Benavides reports.
It's good to be back in Pennsylvania.
Former President Barack Obama slammed Republican Senate nominee Dr. Mehmet Oz in the battleground state of Pennsylvania.
If somebody's willing to peddle snake oil to make a buck, then he's probably willing to sell snake oil to get elected.
Campaigning in Pittsburgh with Democratic candidate John Fetterman, Mr. Obama warned about the future of abortion rights, Social Security, and democracy. Later, they appeared in Philadelphia with President Biden and Josh Shapiro, the nominee for governor.
One of the most important elections in our lifetime. It's going to shape, the outcome's going to shape our country for decades to come.
And tonight, Dr. Oz is set to rally in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, with former President Donald Trump, who has signaled he's strongly considering a 2024 White House run.
Democrats hold a narrow majority in the House and the Senate, but they're worried pressing issues like high inflation and concerns about crime could hurt their chances on Tuesday.
What they're doing to this country right now is a shame, and they won't admit it. They want to call all police officers thugs and bullies.
Georgia Republican Senate hopeful Herschel Walker is locked in a heated battle with incumbent Democrat Raphael Warnock.
Someone
lowered the ladder just low enough for me to reach up and grab the ladder and pull myself up.
Nationwide, close to 40 million Americans have already cast their ballots in early voting, both by mail and in person. Cristian Benavides, CBS News.
Georgia election officials say as of this morning, the state's record-breaking early voting turnout has seen nearly 2.3 million voters casting their ballot. And just ahead, we're going to tell you all about fun events that are happening around Central Arkansas in this nice fallish weather. And you can catch it later tonight. But first, Corrales, can you tell us a little bit about that weather?
Well, it definitely felt more like fall today, and it's going to be an overall quiet weekend in store for us. Still have the latest forecast, what to expect for the new week just ahead.